What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back to a new review. Today we are checking out one of the best looking ROG devices available on the market. So this right here, it's called the Cubot Quest. This is a phone that runs Android 9 and a phone that you can buy for about $150. However, I did see this for about $130 a couple of weeks ago at GearBest. So definitely check the links in the video's description, and if I find a better price I will post it there. So for that price we do get a lot of value. First of all, the phone has IP68 certification, and that means that the phone is waterproof and it should also be shockproof. But personally I never dropped the phone, so I can't really say if that's true or not. However, I did have the phone in water and as you can probably see, it does work fine afterwards. We also get NFC, something that we don't usually see for cheaper devices like this, and that means that you can make payments using Google Pay. And again, this is really nice to have for a phone this cheap. Another thing that I've noticed is the fact that the phone supports more bands than usual, and that means that you should be able to use this phone in the US as well. And once again, this is something that doesn't usually happen with a lot of Chinese devices. This phone is powered by the MediaTek Helio P22, and this processor will not get any performance awards. However, this processor is very power efficient, and combining that with the 4000 mAh battery that we have inside this device, you can easily get between 10 to 12 hours of screen on time. And getting that much screen on time from any phone, it is pretty awesome. That processor is paired with 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of internal storage, not to mention that internal storage can also be expanded with an SD card, so the device can take either an SD card and a SIM card or 2 SIM cards at the same time. The benchmark results that you're gonna get from it aren't anything spectacular, but for light to medium usage the phone will do just fine. So I tried a bunch of apps on it like Facebook, Chrome and YouTube. On the Facebook app, scrolling through your feed, there is a bit of lag, but for Chrome there is absolutely no lag. As for the YouTube app, the maximum resolution that you can select is 720p, and all the videos that I watched at that resolution did do quite well. For heavier games, this is not gonna be great, so if you play games like PUBG, you will see a bunch of skipped frames, so the game is kind of unplayable. But if you play other lighter games, it should do fine. So if you're a big gamer, this phone is probably not for you. The phone itself is mostly made out of plastic, so the back and the frame are made out of plastic. The cameras on the back are covered by glass, and that's a good thing. And on the corners here we have some type of rubberized plastic, and I guess that would help if you'd be to drop the phone. On the left hand side we have a button, and that's a customizable button, so you can basically have the phone open any app when you press that button. On the other side we have the power button and the volume keys, but unfortunately we don't have a 3.5mm audio jack, and for a phone this cheap I think that should have been added, because a lot of people still use wired headphones. At the bottom we have the USB-C charging port, but this port is covered by a rubber flap, and I'm not sure how that rubber flap will do after you close it and open it like 300 times. So keep that in mind. It would have been nice if the phone would have had wireless charging, because that way you wouldn't have to open this port so often. The fingerprint scanner on the back works very well as well. It is fairly quick, and in fact quicker than a lot of other budget-friendly phones that I've tried in the past. The phone also supports face unlocking, but the face unlocking is done through the front-facing camera, therefore is not as secure. On the back we also have the speaker, and the speaker seems to get fairly loud, but it's pointing away from you and it is fairly easy to cover, and it sounds kind of tiny at the same time. So definitely not the best speaker that I've ever heard. The 5.5-inch screen is an IPS panel that has a 720p resolution, and as you can probably see for yourself, we have fairly big bezels all around the screen. But at least the screen is covered by some scratch-resistant glass. Now the colors look great, the viewing angles look great, and the brightness is decent. And just as a fun fact, the brightness on this screen is actually better than the brightness on the Pixel 3a XL. So you can still use this phone outside, but if you'd be to compare this with the flagship, well, there is no comparison. So it gets fairly bright, but not the brightest out there. So just above the screen we have an LED notification light, but unfortunately that doesn't change color, it's only red. And then we have an 8-megapixel front-facing camera. As from the back we have a 12-megapixel camera and a 2-megapixel camera. Now the cameras take decent enough pictures if you have plenty of light. So if you take a selfie with a lot of light, the pictures do look okay. And if you take pictures with the rear cameras with plenty of light, they do look okay. But if you take pictures in low light, the selfies and the pictures you're gonna take with the rear cameras don't look great at all. So this one will be ideal to take pictures during the day, not that much for nighttime photography. As for the GPS unit inside it, well, that one works great. It only takes a couple of seconds to find your location, and once your location is found, it doesn't seem to lose it. For sensors, you have all the sensors that you would find in a much more expensive device, including a gyroscope, and all the sensors seem to work good as well. Connectivity wise, we get dual band Wi-Fi, 4G connectivity and NFC as I mentioned earlier. And here in Canada the phone works on 2G, 3G and on 4G. And as I said earlier, you should be able to use this phone in the US as well. The speaker at the top here seems to get loud enough for most conversations, so no complaints about that. As for the speeds over the 4G network and the dual band Wi-Fi, those are really good as well. So to quickly conclude this video, I don't really have too many bad things to say about this phone. I mean, you get stock Android 9, the phone performs fairly good, we get great battery life, we get a phone that looks really well, we get IP68 certification, so waterproof. We get a fingerprint scanner that works really good, and the cameras are kind of average, but everything else does seem to be quite good about this phone. So if you're looking for a rugged device that looks pretty good, you should definitely consider the Cubot Quest. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did like it, press that like button, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.